And now your hosts of In Your City Show, Kelly and Gordon.
Welcome to the In Your City Show. It is the Love Local issue, the month of love, and we've got some beautiful issues out right now for the February Love Local. How many times I want to say
and we
that?
Get an extra day,
love.
we get an extra day of love in February this year because it's a leap year.
That's
so you
true.
Get one extra.
So what
February.
happens if you were loving, doving 9 months ago and you have that baby on February 29th? Do you just wait 4 years to get that next birthday?
The baby has a birthday every 4 years. And I think we were talking about this too. Wouldn't that be great? Because you would be like 1 year old for 4 years.
I don't know if I would be 1 year old for 4 years.
But when you get to be like 29, you're 29 for 4 years. And you're 30 for another 4 years.
That's
so that would work out really well.
But the 4, the 1, or when you're turning 16 and you're, 12 or whatever, I wouldn't like that very much.
No.
I'd want to hurry up and be 16 years old.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it is brought to you by Chesterfield, Clayton, and St. Charles County City Lifestyle magazines, and we've got a great list of hot list guests coming on today.
Yes, we do. A lot of fun.
Yeah, actually our...
Things to make you look better, music, all kinds of fun stuff.
That's so true. I hope I can get with it today. Know where we're at, what we're doing, and what's happening in our city going on right now. But we've got a beautiful guest with us right now. So let's just, talk with Sarah Hayek. She's the owner of the Red Beauty Salon. And did I say it correctly, your last name?
Yes, it's Hayek. Just like Selma, we always say.
Because usually we say that beforehand, and I hate when I forget to do that, just to make sure. So
not related, though, unfortunately, to Selma. But
it'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? She'd come into your salon and get her hair done.
Right.
Gordon would appreciate that too, right?
Well, I like Selma. She's awesome. She's awesome.
Absolutely. So welcome to the show with us.
Well, thank you so much for having me. You guys are wonderful.
Well, if you notice, my hair has grown since we began the In Your City show, and that's due to this lady right here, Sarah. It's amazing. You can just go in with short hair and walk out with like super long hair. It's like being a Barbie doll or
I don't know if it would work with me, though. Don't you have to something to
stick it to?
You have to have a little bit.
Put it on your eyebrows and let it just come all the way over. You could do like a fold over. But it is
no fold over.
No fold over. It is such a cool idea. I mean, we started out really long and then you went a little bit shorter with it and kind of getting used to it and that. But I mean, do you remember? You might be too young, but remember the Chrissy dolls?
I'm familiar.
Yeah, she's too young.
You pull them out.
Don't you hate when you're on young
I used to
people
do that
and you
all
just
the time.
age yourself when you start doing that? What I post the other day? I hate when I run into somebody old and find out we went to high school together. Oh, we're the same age.
I love it.
But there was a doll and I loved it. And so it would have like short hair, but you could take the hair, pull it, and then all of a sudden you'd get this really long hair. And I was like, that's what I felt like.
And you turn the knob and the hair would come back into the head.
But the cool thing about it is it's of course, the hair of the celebrities, but it's different than the normal, I would say, extensions that people get. This is called hair lingerie, is what you've put on me. And it's breathable. And what that means is you're not suffocating your own hair to when it comes out, half your hair is gone.
Correct. It has a proprietary blend of lace polymers that is specifically for hair lingerie. So it just allows the hair to be ventilated and to breathe, and you can keep your hair in the best health that it's ever been while you're wanting fullness, volume, or length.
Yeah.
Growing the hair out from those uncomfortable, bad hair lengths to just going long when you want to go from short to long. But a lot of people have hair loss. Women go through menopause and hormones, and all of a sudden we start losing hair. And that's a lot of times where people go shorter, but we don't have to go shorter. And I love your comment where Kelly said that she feels old, like she did, because she wants long hair, but she says, can I have long hair at my age?
I'm too old. That's what I felt like.
And that's it's a myth. It's like the Golden Girls. It's like when you get older, your hair's thinner and it's becomes
my hair grows
spiner.
in a mullet shape now.
It loses the sides.
It's like party in the back and business in the front. It just doesn't grow right.
So that's where hair lingerie can come and bring you to the current Sex in the City trend, where you see all those beautiful ladies in their 50s and they have long, gorgeous hair. They can have short hair, but they can have the long hair that they desire.
And even if maybe you aren't even wanting long hair, it's the ability to even thicken the hair, you know, because that's a lot of times why when we age, we end up going shorter and shorter and shorter, because it doesn't grow the same anymore, and it doesn't grow in the same thickness anymore, no matter what you put on it. And then, you know, over the years of coloring and treating and covering up the gray and things like that, you know, it just gets less and less. I guess the strength is gone, and so being able to add, you know, hair to it without wearing wearing a fake piece that, you know,
a wiglet
falls off.
That came up on my Facebook feed the other day. It was an advertisement for a toupee for guys. It was just
Oh my gosh.
like a rubber
Matt,
thing, yeah, with
like a
hair on
dog
it, just
mat.
sticking on. But yeah,
we should try that sometime.
I feel out of place here talking about hair today.
Aw, we leaving you out.
No, not at all, because you caught me with lingerie. So, I mean, so hair lingerie. How did the name come about? And tell us a little bit more about the company and who actually, we talked about celebrities, Selma Hayek, but celebrities,
Yeah,
this is the hair extension choice of celebrities, correct?
It is. So Kiara Bailey is the founder and creator of Hair Lingerie, and she is a phenomenon in the hair industry. She has done hair herself for many celebrities over the years, but one of our favorite is Barbra Streisand.
I love Barbra Streisand.
So she worked very hard in her career to get where she is, but she just developed a high level of clients, celebrities, and wanted to give them the best hair. And so what was on the market was not what she thought was the best. And so she spent 8 years in research and development and traveling all over the country to develop hair lingerie. So it is
like silk.
Nothing else. I mean, you've got their tape-ins, but it's luxury hair tape-ins. If you look up tape-ins, it is not your traditional. These are absolutely seamless.
And
like
you
if
didn't
we
use
look
any
at
heat
Kelly's
as well.
No. If you look at, there's no bonding, right? It's just very seamless. Like in Kelly's hair, you will not see them. I always say they play right in between that border of seen and not seen, but even when you get in there and you try to find them, it just is seamless. So
And you are the only one in Missouri that carries the hair lingerie, is that correct?
that is correct.
Yeah, so that's a big deal right there. You
State
can't
of
go
Missouri,
anywhere.
yeah, not
state
just
of
St. Louis,
Missouri.
but the whole state.
Not
yeah.
just New Melly, which is the city you reside from.
I know. We love New Melly,
It
our
is
little
Missouri.
wine country.
Oh my gosh, it's
a
absolutely
quaint little town.
It is. It's darling, and where you're at as well.
Gordon had a fun time on the snow day.
Oh yeah, when it snowed the other day.
You do not mess with
This
a
was the
woman's
best
hair.
story.
I mean, when you have a hair appointment, you do not reschedule it. It is a big deal, and you're not going to miss it. So the snow is coming down. We really couldn't hardly see getting there.
Right.
It was
and of course,
and the
me being the
roads
guy,
are-
it'll be fine. It's not going to be bad. We got it.
And he got me there, and then of course stayed for the
Luckily,
duration.
there was a coffee and donut
Bakery,
shop
the New
next,
Belly
Yeah.
Bakery.
next door, which and a TV. So, and I had my laptop, which
And what did you have while you were there for an hour?
everything. Everything.
yeah, biscuits and gravy.
Whatever
I
you
actually
could.
had a white long john,
Yeah.
The best you said you'd ever had.
cappuccino.
What is the
Yeah.
name of the place next door?
The New Melly Baking Company.
Melly Baking-
He
That's
comes
easy
back
to
and tells
remember.
Kelly,
Everything that
She's
he
like, "Did
had.
you bring me
I'm like,
anything?"
where's mine? They're like, oh, they're closed now. I cleaned them out. There isn't anything left. So out in New Melly, I mean, it's just, it's a darling, quaint area. Your salon, the Red Beauty Salon,
Yep.
is absolutely darling as well.
Thank you.
And it's so perfect, isn't it? The Red Beauty
Yep.
Salon with the beautiful redhead
I
right
have to
here.
give that to my husband credit because he
You know
came
what? You
up
do
with
that
Red
every
Beauty.
single time. That's
He's
so kind
like
of
the man
you.
behind the scenes.
He
He's
is.
here today, and Toby Hayek, I love him. He's my man.
He's a great guy.
He got me here
I
to
know,
meet you
yep.
two wonderful
Yeah,
people.
absolutely, you did. Well, tell us a little bit. So you have the hair lingerie, which we see, which I won't dare do anything, but it comes
we
in a.
can
You
check-
want to open
yeah.
one up? You sure? Don't have to take it all out. I don't want to do anything to them, but
We just
they
like
come in
to
a
show
beautiful
how
little
packaged.
package. I went home actually as well with the hair lingerie shampoo, which is fabulous. It's so nice because I don't have to share any of my product with Gordon. It's like the shower is just loaded with stuff, and I don't ever have to share it. It's the greatest thing ever.
It's dog
Once using
shampoo
my
and the rest is
razor,
Kelly's.
and I had to put
Yeah.
nix on that real quick and make sure that his own's in there so he doesn't use it. But
So-
and this stuff is like liquid gold putting on your hair. The
This
oil.
is how this comes packaged.
Isn't that crazy?
And the biggest thing with this luxury hair, lingerie hair extensions is the quality
Look
of
at
the
it.
hair.
It's like silk.
So
amazing.
this is our
My real hair does not
premium
look like that.
hair, and then we have preferred. So preferred has a little bit of texture to it. But do you see these pieces are so gorgeous and seamless and beautiful, and it just like magic happens.
Magic
but
happens.
the biggest thing is, why is it luxurious? Why is all the top celebrities wearing these? It's because it looks just like your own hair. It feels like your own hair. It is 100%
No, it doesn't
real
feel like
hair.
my own hair.
Feels better.
That feels
when we
much
take
better
care.
than my hair. When I wake up in the morning, Gordon just did this picture of the hair like this just going everywhere. It's just something happens
who
like
she's
that.
wrestling
like
with
the
in
hair
her
fairy comes
sleep,
at night
but-
and just starts doing this to my head. It's absolutely insane. But yeah, they show some of the gorgeous Cindy Crawford. Kylie Jenner, is that her last name? You can tell I follow her. But yeah, it's absolutely an incredible product they have. But you have other services. I mean, you do the hair lingerie, which
Yes.
is your specialty. You're the only one in Missouri that does that. But of course, as a full service salon, color, foil,
Everything.
everything that you need, you absolutely do as well. And a beautiful selection of product that you have.
Absolutely. We love the boutique, we call it Boutique Hair Salon in New Melle, just because it is very quaint. We want, when you come in, to have a very pampered experience, starting with whether it's your hair lingerie, whether it's your, premium product. This has caviar and sapphires and avocado and rice water and all the things that is
can
great
eat it.
to keep your hair moisturized and hydrated. But to your fancy coffees and maybe a cocktail, we have everything to offer at the Red Beauty Salon. But I have Jen for Wild Shoots and Maddie Shanowski, and they are my team, and I love them. And you're not just one person, there's three of us. We do have one more station open, available, and we just, we're not wait for the right person. But,
Exactly.
And I know you have some special events out in New Melle. Is there somewhere that they go? I know the redbeautysalon.com is your website, which that's on a link as well. And then, of course, if you want to find out some of the fun events, I know that there's a fashion show that's coming up this weekend. But, of course, this segment with you is out forever. So if people want to find out when special events are going on in New Melle, where do they go for those as well?
well, the joke is it's Carla and Sarah.
Just call you.
I was in Carla Brockensick. She's the owner of Catala Boutique and facial spa and facial boutique. All of my clothes come from there, but she is my girl. I had a little booth in there that I rented in this little rehabbed house, and I just expanded and grew and moved into our new location where you visited.
lovely.
But we are the heart of New Melle, and everything, if you want to find out, you go to Catala and you go to the Red Beauty Salon.
When you get somewhere,
and you
go
can
through
find
her.
everything, what's going around town. And we call it New Melle all around town. So you've got the fashion show, we've got plein air coming up, we've got ladies' luncheons and derby days. So if you
good
follow
time.
us on, through the social media and New Melle Chamber,
You're gonna be able to
you're
find
going
out
to be
whatever you'd
able
like.
to find all the things that happen in our wonderful community.
Well, thank you so much. Sarah Hayek, her husband Toby, who's in the background making sure that everything
I'm
happens.
So sorry, I have one more thing. Can I?
Is it Christmas?
This is, it is Christmas, so this is for Gordon.
Aww.
And these are from a friend of mine. Her name is Jess.
Aww.
She made these for me,
How fun.
and I wanted you to have them.
Oh, look.
Awesome.
We've got our very own. The Red Beauty Salon, and on the back it says sassy, classy, and a bit of badassy.
So flip it around, and then Gordon, what do you
Beauty
got?
is an attitude.
What
So,
does it say?
Beauty is an attitude.
These were
So
created
true.
by my marketing
I
Evoke
love this.
and CJ Watson, and I just these are new, the black ones, just for men, because I wanted it to be,
I love black
So,
t-shirts.
So Gordon, you got the
Yes.
first copy
I
of
love
that.
that's
it.
awesome.
This is
Thank
so
you so
sweet.
much.
Well, thank you so much. The Red Beauty Salon, Sarah Hayek. You will not be disappointed if you make an appointment. Consultation, go in, check it out. Definitely, if you're interested in getting some hair extensions, you'll want to check out the hair lingerie. There's nothing like it. I've tried, touched, seen other product, and truly, there's nothing like the hair lingerie. And I appreciate so much you.
I appreciate
turning
it
me
too.
into-
I appreciate both of you.
There you go, our hot list guest coming from New Melle, Sarah Hayek from the Red Beauty Salon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the In Your City show, and we have our next hot list guest, and that's Marcy Bursac, America's foster care adoption mentor and founder. Thank you so much for being our hot list guest. And what city do you come from?
So thrilled to be here. I reside in St. Charles, but I work across the country, so you can kind of point me to anywhere and I'll call it home.
Work across the country, I love that. But the city of St. Charles, which we love,
Yes.
that's our
That's
home.
where we're from,
That's our
too.
home area as well. I see you're
By
wearing
the
your shirt,
trail.
foster care adoption. So, I mean, you go on and on and on. I mean, you were the winner, which this is, I don't know if we should save this for last and go up, but the last one's pretty cool too. I mean, let's start with you were United States of America, Mrs. Ohio 2022.
Yeah.
And then Mom, which is so cool.
Which is probably one of the most important ones. Out of all of them.
Yeah, it definitely is. You were actually the winner of the Pilot Pen G2 Overachievers Grant, which you're going to have to let us know all about that, what that is, on the Kelly Clarkson Show. And I'm like, so tell me about Kelly Clarkson. I want to know about that. And that was just of October 2023, which was very, very close.
Right after the writer's strike. Because
Okay.
I actually had checked into my plane. I didn't know for sure it was going to happen. I just knew I was invited on the show. And I had checked in my plane, and about an hour later, they said, oh, it's the writer's strike. We're not going anywhere. So all summer, I got to be under an NDA and not talk about
Wow.
anything and
Oh my
just
gosh.
patiently and prayerfully learn
I would be
patience.
sued left and right. An NDA, I would have the hardest time.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to tell you, but don't tell
Tell
anybody.
anybody else.
Okay, I'm going to tell you, and you're the only one that knows, but don't tell anyone else. And I would say that probably to who knows how many people. So
Sure.
I'd be in so much trouble
But
if I
I
had
felt
to
like
go there.
I felt like I paid way more attention to the writer's strike than probably anyone else did.
Oh, I'm
just
sure.
because I was like, I'm just trying to figure out,
I'm
is
like,
it over?
was there
And-
one?
Right, but it was an important cause, right? So I was like, I trust the process, and
Yeah.
it worked out really well because my third book, What to Know When You Adopt Through Foster Care, I was able to work on that over those months, and it actually came out right as the show aired.
So let's talk about this. You're obviously a mom. You adopted
A pair of siblings, so
pair of
biological siblings, yeah.
And is this what led you to realize the importance and the needs, or was it before you adopted? Tell us where this all started.
Ooh, I don't know if I can pinpoint it. I can
Okay.
tell you that in my early 20s, I went overseas in Europe to an orphanage, and I spent a substantial amount of that week with the older teen girls. And I learned in this country, the common thing that happens is when they're kind of aged out of the orphanage, girls go into prostitution and boys go into criminal activity. And I thought, well, then why am I here? Like, how is this helping, right? And
Right.
I honestly got angry. I came back to the States and was like, I'm too young to adopt a teenager, but golly, this is so wrong on so many levels.
Yeah.
And when my husband and I had started dating, I talked to him about, like, I don't want to have biological children. I don't know if my body can, but what I do know is I saw a need, and that's what I want to go do. And he said, okay, 100% with you. And I was like, we're not breaking up? And he said, no. But my grandfather was an orphan in the 20s. He was a first-generation immigrant from Serbia, Grandpa Sam. And when Sam was 7, Sam had 2 older siblings. Sam's mom and dad died of pneumonia, because this is like way back when healthcare is
Sure.
different. The 2 older ones were taken in as what is called kind of hired help, right? They could help on the farm, and Sam was left to the streets. And there's an incredible story that one day I hope becomes a movie. And that was the man that my husband spent a lot of his childhood with. And he was like, I always wonder what would have happened if somebody would have helped Sam. So Marcy, can we do your vision, but can the kids be from the US? And I'm like, older kids US, where do you even start? So I think I was very confused early in Kelly, and when we finally figured out how to do it, our process got delayed, as it usually does. We were told, oh, it'll be about 4 months, then you can go set your court date. And at 9 months in, I'm on my bathroom floor thinking, I could have had a biological child. Clearly God got this wrong. And I'm in a puddle of tears, and it was like someone tapped my shoulder and said, this has nothing to do with you. And I was so mad in that moment, because I was like, but it's hard. Like, this is terrible. And I'm like, fine, what am I supposed to do? And I thought, well, usually delay is for purpose, right? So I went to my husband and I said, can we blog about this? Can I talk about our journey as the parents? We won't talk about our kids' backstory. We won't bad talk their biological family. Can I just share what it's like to adopt through foster care? And he was like, go for it. And so through that, I became aware of how private a decision this is, that people don't want to like tell you, but they want to know. And they're curious because one, they just don't know anyone that has done this. And they're curious because they're thinking about it, but they're just like me, they didn't know where to start. And so through all of that, when the world shut down for the pandemic and we were all given stimulus payments, my husband and I both were employed, and we're like, what do you do with this money, right? And we had talked about it, and I said, well, I saw someone donated part of theirs. Could we think about a donation? He said, yeah, just tell me what you're thinking. So
He's a very giving, understanding
Yeah.
man.
he's very
a great guy.
supportive. I'm very lucky. I'm very, very lucky. And so I came to him a couple days later and said, I think what I want to ask you is, can we use the money for me to write down all these sessions we've been having in our living room, all the things I've learned over Zoom, training other families. What if I wrote it down, and instead of teaching people that are local to us or that we can talk to on Zoom, what if I could teach our entire country who these kids are? Surely that would have a much more lasting impact than what I'm able to do in our living room. And he said, go for it. So, and I kind of made a goof because I made a plan to do it in the month of August, and I didn't look at our family calendar, and we kind of had an anniversary trip planned. So when I went over things,
would a new car go well with that money? She's saving the world.
Yeah.
trying, because there's more kids. I can't adopt all of them. And so, yeah, my husband, yet again, understanding I had made a goof, and my starting weekend, my writing weekend was going to be when we were traveling for anniversary. And he was like, that's fine. We're going to the library. I'm going to look up some nerdy books. You're going to have your few hours, and you need to write this. So that's where it all began.
And so here we have a few books in front of us. Let's start with the children's book and go up from there.
Yes. So Are You a Forever Family really celebrates adoptive families, and it also helps kids have language to talk about it. This is one of the most difficult things we don't teach kids how to talk about. And then sometimes I've run across families that I've coached that haven't even told their children they're adopted. And this book is intended to be bright and cheerful. It actually has a corresponding classroom lesson plan for grades K through 5. It started in St. Charles County last year, in St. Louis County, and is going across the country this year. Very well received. I'll actually be at a conference for Missouri State educators here shortly, and I'll be teaching all the teachers how to teach the lesson. So the intention is you can talk about adoption, and maybe as a parent you just needed the language, and maybe as a teacher you just weren't sure. And it's been neat because when I got to help teach this last year in a kindergarten classroom, I had this little girl right away raise her hand, so excited, and said, "Teacher, I'm adopted." And this little boy next to her goes, "Well, why?" Which, okay, you're a kindergartner, right? And the teacher swoops in and is ready to move on. The little girl raises her hand a second time. She says, "Teacher, I want to share." And she told her story of being in a country where there was a limit on the number of children, and how she, as a single mom, and this book gets to highlight all these different kinds of people, whether they're couples or older.
Yeah,
she found herself in the book, but man, that classroom, how beneficial it was to hear that day someone in my class is adopted, and many of the kids said, "I want to adopt when I get older." And so planting those seeds early.
And you know, adoption is so important, and we don't talk about that enough.
Right.
And we don't learn enough. So what you're doing, mentoring and helping and teaching and educating, is so important, because adoption, I mean, we're talking about a life. We're talking about a child, giving it a home. This is not a return policy. This isn't a, this is an incredible
soul, beautiful soul.
Yeah,
just waiting to have a family.
Amazing. So I know we're running close on time here, but you have a couple other books there, The Forgotten Adoption,
option, and then What Should No One Adopt Through Foster Care. So the whole goal, as you were just hitting on, is to change the trajectory. If you look up online, what are the things that happen when a kid ages out of the foster care system? It's really similar to what I told you happened in Europe. A lot of criminal activity, homelessness, not educate, all these things happen because there's a support system lacking. So my intention with the other two books, they're geared towards adults, is to help them feel equipped to know what the journey entails, how to get licensed, how to endure it. Because it's a government program, and it's not very clean and clear on what to do next. But if you can walk it out, I teach you all the steps of how to be patient, how to have empathy, and how to remember your why, which is the child or sibling group that you're trying to adopt.
Sure, fantastic.
So it's kind of a success system instead of just, here you are, you're 18, see you later, bye. Success system for the families and for the kids.
Yeah,
exactly.
Beautiful. Thank you for all that you're doing. I'm sure that there are so many people that are grateful for all that you're doing with the adoption process and learning about, through foster care as well. So thank you for all that you're doing. We really appreciate it, and coming here and sharing it as well. Marcy Bursac, America's Foster Care Adoption Mentor and Founder.
And where can they get the books again?
So you can find them on ForgottenAdoptionOption.com, my website, or they're all available on Amazon. But I do want to mention to you, too, the children's book, all of the illustrations are based on real families. So there are people that I know that have adopted through the foster care system, and so you can really truly celebrate families that have adopted.
Oh, that's
Awesome.
very special.
And we have a question to ask you. We
Yeah.
have a question to ask you. So if you were going to tell somebody that doesn't live in St. Louis that's coming to visit, where would be your favorite place to tell them to go?
Yeah, you absolutely need to hit up the Katy Trail over in historic St. Charles, and you
Yes.
should get breakfast or brunch at the Bike Stop Cafe.
Oh,
Yeah, there
we've
you
actually
go.
been there ourselves, so that's a
Yeah,
good
and we're
spot.
close to the Katy Trail too.
Yeah.
The peanut butter balls. Jody's
Oh,
peanut butter balls.
They are good. I brought them home before. Remember their chocolate?
They made it
They're
home?
like Reese's peanut
You
butter.
probably need to bring some
well,
more
no,
home. I've
actually-
forgotten.
So I get like 5 or 6, and then she ends up with 3.
One.
She thinks,
Oh, one came home.
Did you say
Okay.
3? 1. And there might even be a bite out of it.
she'll take a bite and set it down, and she'll come
And then
back and it'll be
finishes
gone.
it.
It'll be like, I thought you were done.
They're good.
Aw. Well, thank you so much again, Marcy Bursac, America's Foster Care Adoption. Thank you so much for being here and sharing the information that you did today. We appreciate it. Great hot list guest.
Well, thrilled to be able to speak up on behalf of children that are just waiting for us to adopt them.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome to the In Your City show, and boy, do we have a hot list guest with us right now. We met her a while back when we were doing the radio
show, yeah.
And someone told us about her, and she came in, and it's just like been boom.
She's exploding.
Yeah, Lindsay Wanner. She is an artist, and she's an incredible artist. It's very, very unique with what she does. Haven't seen anything like it before. I remember pulling into the radio station, handing her off huge box of CDs.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because that's just one of the many things that Lindsay creates art with. So welcome to the show, Lindsay.
Thank you.
So good to have you.
I know.
mean, we've just been watching your success grow and grow and grow and evolve, and it just it's incredible. So Lindsay was actually the cover of our February issue, which we've showed before in our opening, and hopefully showing again. The gorgeous portrait. It's not a portrait.
Art pieces.
Art
It's
piece.
amazing.
This is Nellie, which, you know, St. Louis, well-known, Nellie. And what is that made of?
I used vinyl records, the album covers, and CDs.
I mean, how do you look at a pile of, you know, because you've made also, I think there was something you created with Ozzie Smith, and didn't you do that with baseball gloves or bats, maybe?
Yeah, so I somehow got started into like upcycling or using like materials to make art because I kind of wanted it to be something that like you haven't seen before, or that like was taking kind of trash and turning it into treasure.
Yeah.
And I love music also, so it just kind of turned out that way where it would be like vinyl records and CDs turning into art. But in the past, like, yeah, I have done the Ozzie Smith out of like, it was baseball gloves and old jerseys, like anything that's like relevant to the subject.
Yeah,
I like
you've
to
made things
use.
out of basketballs, is that correct?
Yeah.
I mean, I just like completely impressed with the thoughts of how you do that. And you were in a corporate position, and I think you were laid off or something, and
Yes.
you're like, what do I do now? And you're sketching, and you realize you've had no schooling, you just have this innate talent within yourself that kind of blossomed.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I mean,
I feel
there's
like
nothing blossoming out of me.
No, I mean, people use paints and they use, you know,
Which is
pencils
incredible.
and stuff like that. But you create this out of materials and how you have to layer them. I mean, if you look at it front, it looks like a normal painting, but then you turn it on the side and you can see all the layers that's in the art piece. And I find that so interesting. Have you ever had, so I know you get commission work too, so you ever have anybody, since you get materials, do people say, I want this material in my art
for
piece
sure. Yeah,
that's
I've had
special to us?
people. There's actually someone who was associated with the Cubs. I think his family member was also in the Cubs, and he gave me like a whole bunch of baseball gloves, a whole bunch of baseball bats that like had writing on them and like names engraved on them and autographs and stuff. And I'm always like scared because those are precious materials.
Right.
But I think like what better way to take like something that they want to display and turn it into like kind of a timeless piece that might last in their family forever.
So you create these pieces for these famous people, and do you get to meet a lot of them?
Well, I'm gonna hold Oscar De La Hoya to it. He literally said we'll have to smoke cigars together. So
Yeah, don't let him get off the hook.
Waiting. He'll call me, you know. But no, I mean,
Just sending one of those gifts, you know, like the guy sitting there going like this.
tapping my fingers.
Still waiting.
But Nelly's been really nice. I got to meet him, and he signed some artwork for me. I actually gifted him this piece of art because he's signed other artwork for me.
Did he gift you anything, like some tickets to somewhere or something special?
Yeah.
What do I get?
He gifted me his autographs on the other art. So.
There you go. Perfect. Is there anything that you have that you have a desire to like work with and make something out of? You thought, I think I might. This could work. Is there anything that's in?
I think I found it with the vinyl records. I mean, it's just like, to me, it feels like it's my thing.
Really?
I've tried so many different things, like the baseball gloves and all that, but like for me, the music is like what makes me happy.
I think I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger. We've got a few in the magazine. So Lindsay, actually, we did her story in our February issue, and her art is on the cover. And there's some of her favorite pieces that are also.
Go to the website. You'll see a lot of
go to the
cool
website.
things.
It was funny. I had loaded up one of your artworks onto it, and then all of a sudden I made it bigger, and I said, oh gosh, I don't think I can put that one on there.
Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
I'm like, oh gosh, all right, that one's gonna get flagged. But that was the heart of that person, and that's who they were.
You have to know your clients, and my clients like sports, music, and pretty ladies. So.
and then it was on the artwork, so in the words or whatever that was with it. But no, I just find it absolutely fabulous, the skill that you have to turn. Do you sketch it first and then put things into place? How can you see that that's going to turn out to look like their body or their face or the words? And
well, I actually used to be in beauty school, and I love makeup, and it's literally like contouring and highlighting, and that's what it all is. You just, instead of painting the dark paint and going up to the light paint, you just use the different layers to make it do that.
And just to have the foresight to sit there and go, I need to cut this piece this way and cut this piece this way in order for it to all to play into effect.
In regular painting, there's something called like the 10-step rule, where you have to take 10 steps back and look at it, and I do that a lot.
That's what I do when I put my outfit on.
20 for me. 20 steps.
The worse your eyes get, the more you keep backing up to make sure you're not missing anything. Do you have a piece you're working on now?
I'm working on an Adam Wainwright piece made out of, well, once I realized that I can use records for musicians, but also athletes because they've broken records.
Oh, I
so
like that.
I'm making this Wainwright piece out of broken records. And I'm also
so do you look for people, sorry, we'll come back, you're also doing, but do you look for people that may have old records or CDs like that will donate?
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't even have to look for them anymore. People are trying to unload all of their records to me, and I'm like, I'll take them.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's fabulous. And you said, and I'm also working.
Yeah, I have a, it's called Three Kings, and it's Kobe, LeBron, and MJ, and they all have crowns on. It's like in a row. So
I love that.
Working on that right now, too.
I love that. Do you find that you're going to stay more in the celebrity world, or has anybody ever come to you and said, I'd love you to do my child out of their shirts and baby blankets, or I don't know, someone's getting married and they take bridal dresses and want you to do their wedding photo?
Yeah, I actually have a waiting list that is including wedding pictures, family photos, all kinds of things. I do it all the time, but I just want to work with vinyl records as my medium.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I guess if maybe, they broke a record staying together for 10 years,
well,
and maybe they
sometimes we'll use
I threw a record once with a girl I dated.
No, like sometimes we'll use like the song from their wedding, or like some song can make it relevant,
Oh, that's fantastic. And Lindsay, how do we see your work?
My website is lindsaywanner.com. On Instagram, it's STLartist.
Is there, and also one more question, is there any size that you do or don't do? I've seen really
Oscar
large.
De La Hoya is pretty big,
Yeah, it's like 8 feet tall.
Wow.
That's the biggest I do. I can go down to like a 2 foot by 2 foot though.
All right, well, we'll send a note to Oscar and make sure he
Right.
keeps his end of the bargain, and we'd like to come too.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind smoking a
get in
cigar.
some
with her.
trouble.
Just invite us. Lindsay, thank you so much. And don't we have a question to ask her?
Yes.
So what city do you come from?
St. Louis.
St. Louis, and you're living in Hillsborough now?
So if your friend's coming into town where are you going to send them? If they only have a
They
couple
say,
nights.
what's hot?
Yeah, what's hot?
What's
the
hot in your
hottest
city?
thing?
In my city right now,
What
in
should we
Hillsborough,
try or experience?
I love Tetros, this
Okay.
restaurant. It's like a bayou restaurant
Oh, that
where
sounds
they have
fun.
Cajun food.
yeah, boiled shrimp, live music, stuff like that. It's called Tetros.
Okay, there you
Awesome.
go.
There
That's
you
what's
go.
hot in Hillsborough.
Not much out there.
But you know, and I'm sorry, I keep saying one more thing. If we could just
Yes.
stay another hour. Boombox, learn to listen.
Yes.
So what inspired it, and where can we get this?
Well, I wanted to write a book, and of course it had to be music themed,
Of course.
and it turned into a children's book. And it's about a little boombox who learns to listen when he discovers his red record button, which is his heart.
That's so adorable.
Oh,
I
that's
got
awesome.
goosebumps on that. I need to read it to learn to listen as well.
A lot of people
Can't
do.
do it.
It's like God gave us 2 ears
Yeah.
and 1 mouth.
I should have had like a few mouths or something and just 1 ear, but oh well, made a mistake. So Boombox learns to listen, and we can find it through your website,
My
as well
website
as
or
Amazon.
Amazon, yep.
Perfect. Lindsay Wanner, our hot list guest. She's an incredible artist, and you can get a hold of her through her website, lindsaywanner.com. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll be listed as well. So thank you so much for
Thank
spending
you.
some time with
Thank
us.
you so much.
Welcome to our In Your City show, and we have a great hot list guest with us today. Was supposed to be 4 of them, but you know what? They're band members, and sometimes we know how that happens.
Think they're sleeping in
It's
right
like
now?
they're sleeping in, not working, doing something. But anyway, we have Chuck Pudiwitr with us today, and he is the guitar player for the band Boyfriend. Been a
That's
longtime friend, and we've known each other throughout the years, throughout the musical
Back
venues,
when you had long
back
hair?
when we all had
Long
hair.
time.
Did you have the long hair too?
I did. The big and long
He
hair.
was like a lion, red lion hair,
Yeah.
man. It was
By any
amazing.
chance, did you happen to add one of those photos of them back in the day?
Oh yeah, we got some photos, and I actually have some photos that they didn't send me that we
no
will throw out
discriminating
there.
photos, right?
So you're here today to talk about the band, and because you have an upcoming show, but we'll get to that in a minute. So talk a little bit about the band Boyfriend. I mean, you guys have been a staple in the music business here in St. Louis for forever. I mean, 40,
How long?
45 years now.
It'll be 45 years in October.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's incredible.
45 years.
Do you guys still practice in the garage?
I'm practicing in a basement.
Timmy's house?
basement, yeah. You practice there, yeah, you have. So yeah, we in '79, Timmy and his brother and I, and Mark, our original bass player, we all went to high school together. Now Timmy was younger than us, so he was in junior high, and I can't ever remember if we started in our sophomore, junior year, but us 4 started a band, and we got pretty recognized and was doing pretty well even in high school, and we got picked up by a local talent agent, Heisler Productions. I know you know who
Yeah.
Ike Heisler is, wonderful
Yeah.
guy. And we started playing a lot of high schools, even clubs was starting to have us, and Timmy's 13, 14 years old, we're going to
to
the
the clubs.
speakeasy, the granary. And their dad, Robert and Timmy's dad, was just a marvelous guy. We would play like on Wednesday night at speakeasies, say like over in Breeze, Illinois. And we had a van and a big trailer that carried the equipment. He would drive us all over there. And then we'd set up, and while we played, he'd sleep in a cot in the van, and then take us home when we loaded out, and then he'd go back to work the next day. He was just a marvelous guy, but we had to have some sort of chaperone or whatever to
Correct.
get Timmy in these clubs. So, and then the year '79, we kept playing all the way to '79, and then Timmy and Robert wanted a break, but we had just got booked one of the boats at Lake of the Ozarks. They had the Larry Don and the Tom Sawyer.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So we went down there, but they didn't want to go, so we got John Plitzy to sing, Little John,
Great
and Bobby
singer, too.
Jones to play drums. So we went down there, and we had to watch an audition for the other boat for a band. And when we were down there, we went over, and the owner wanted us to watch the audition. So we said, okay, we'll check them out. Well, they had a really good keyboard player singer, and it was Bob Flynn. So when, there's no phones or
Right.
computers
How
back
do you
then.
get a hold of each
So I
other?
grabbed a napkin and I wrote my name and number on it, and I said, hey, tell that keyboard player if he ever wants to quit and join another band, give me a call. Well, we got kicked out of Lake of the Ozarks because we ran out of
course.
places to stay. So we were supposed to play till Labor Day, yeah, and it was right before 4th of July, we got thrown out of Lake of the Ozarks. So.
Thrown out of Lake of the Ozarks.
yeah,
Not just
yeah.
not a place, but
Oh,
actually
no,
the
no,
whole
no. I
place.
think all the hotels had a meeting and they kicked us out.
Their picture.
Yeah, we got kicked out of every hotel you can imagine. But
didn't think you
it
guys
was
be very
a
friendly.
funny story that. So we ran out of hotels, so one of our roadies, he goes, I got a big multi-room tent. He goes, multi-room tent? So I go, yeah, we can't get kicked out of a campsite, can we? First night.
You did?
Yeah, they confiscated our tent even.
Oh my God.
So we had to leave. We were gone, that was it. We were done like
So
the
you've
Ozarks.
grown up since then.
No. But anyway, so we got back, I think, right at 4th of July, and 2 weeks later, Bob called me, and we finally went and met with him. And by October, Timmy wanted back, he wanted to play some more, and we got him back, and then we've been together ever since,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever met anyone that's been kicked out of the full Lake of the Ozarks,
Let
and
alone a
especially a tent. So you win the prize today.
Yeah, we win a lot of those prizes, trust me.
Oh, yes, they do.
I can't even imagine, actually.
I used to say, they were playing already when I was starting to sing in bands, and I would just look at them in amazement and go, how do these idiots do this? It's like, they were a great band. They're a
That
great
wasn't
band.
very nice.
No, he knows what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know.
No, we go back far enough, we can call each other.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking at him and go, oh my gosh, I go, these guys are insane. And it was,
You
I'll
had
never,
to be a little bit of insanity
yeah.
there. Where's the name Boyfriend Band come from? Were you boyfriends?
We started out as the Jets.
The Jets.
Yeah, and
you
that
were
was
from-
just driving by the airport when we were trying to think of names. And I go, how about the Jets? And we go, okay, yeah, we picked
That
it.
sounds good.
But then, I don't know if
Good thing
you
you were
remember.
driving by something else.
But back in the early 80s, a band got signed called the Jets. I don't know
I
who they were,
remember,
a
yeah.
pop group,
Yeah, I remember them. Yep.
And so we had to change our name.
Was
we
Benny
went
and the Jets, or was that song?
We went through all kinds of names, and then Bob walked into practice one night and said, how about Boyfriend? Yeah, we go, yeah, that worked. So,
Really? And you all agreed?
yeah, we all agreed. Hey, it was good back then. There was Lover Boy, so.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's true.
that's right. Lover boy,
Okay.
boyfriend.
All right.
Yeah.
That
So let's
works
talk
then.
about this show. So after 44 years, you guys have done quite a few of these shows now, these kind of reunion shows, and you have another one coming up. And so
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that.
March 9th at Diamond Music Hall. We finally have a real rock club back in
Yes,
St. Louis.
absolutely.
Because back in the 80s, they were everywhere. And now Topher and Johnny's just done a great job with this place. Sound system, the lights, everything's incredible. Because I kind of feel sorry for bands now because they're playing restaurants. It's kind of like in the movie, that thing you do.
Yeah.
Order number 14 is ready for pickup. When they played Villa Pianos. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So but that's kind of what it is,
Yeah.
And nothing against those places, but, we just didn't have a real rock club. And now that these guys have done a marvelous job, great sound system, great sound man, Todd out there. You know Todd and Daryl on lights. Man,
Yep.
it's a wonderful place. So, and it's March 9th, and we start at 8 o'clock. So,
Anybody opening up for you, or is it just
no,
you
it's
guys?
just going to be us.
Okay.
We're doing 2 long sets. So everybody be home by midnight. Jeez.
Anything new? So, you guys have done this before, so you got any new stuff coming out? New material
Yeah,
that you're
we
doing?
put some new stuff on this show. So, everybody be shocked by some of it. And surprised. So.
And one other question. So, you guys have been together for 44 years. How does a band stay together for
Yeah.
44 years? And not only that, think about this, Chuck. So many times, one of the things that I see in the St. Louis market is you'll see the same 10 guys playing in 30 bands. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
oh,
like,
yeah.
but that's not that. It wasn't that way when we were in bands. It was like you were Nichols, you were Boyfriend, and that's
Right.
who you were, and
Right.
that was your identity.
Not only playing in different bands, we've been where they played in the opening act, and then they were in the
Oh, yeah, the
second
virtual-
band that
yeah,
came
yeah.
on next. I'm like, why didn't they just stay up there then? They just want to change outfits.
I think back then we all thought we were Motley Crue already.
Yeah.
We put on shows. We still do that. We wasn't in it for the money. Nowadays
That's obvious, yeah.
musicians show up. Right? Yeah.
Living
Musicians
in a van
show
down
up.
by the river.
What's
Show
the
up
saying?
15 minutes before the gig, set down a little box amp, and and then start. They're ready to go because they're there for the how much money they make.
Right.
The $200 or whatever a piece, whatever. But back then we didn't care. We liked the big shows. Gosh, when our first gig at Kiel Opera House opening for Eddie Money, I went down at noon and stayed all day.
Oh, I bet. You didn't get kicked out of there, though.
No, we didn't get kicked out.
And that's something real quick before we got a couple minutes, a minute or so.
Seconds.
But you guys did open up for some big bands.
Yeah,
And tell me
yeah.
about the story about Billy Idol.
What
Bobby
story
Flynn.
do you want to hear?
Did Bobby have to dye his hair brown?
He had to dye his hair because Billy Idol wouldn't let him have blonde hair.
Oh, wow.
So he dyed his hair brown. I forgot about that. That's right.
And he really,
right.
really has blonde hair.
Yeah.
Huh?
He really does have blonde
Billy
hair.
Idol does, but
No.
Bobby does.
Yes, that's
yes,
what I
but
meant.
in order, Billy Idol wouldn't let him open up for him.
It was in his contract that the
one
opening
else
band
could
couldn't
have
have a
it.
blonde.
So what's the craziest
God.
story from all the bands you opened up for?
The craziest?
That we can say on that show.
I'll say Alice Cooper. When we opened for Alice Cooper at Kiel Auditorium, I couldn't wait to meet the guy because I was just idolized by
Sure.
Alice Cooper, right? Well, he was a recovering alcoholic at the time. So
And then there's you guys.
So we're waiting, waiting, and he didn't show up for sound check, nothing. I'm going to, what's going on? But so we're waiting. We played our set, and then we're waiting for Alice Cooper. Well, a limo pulls up to the door right before the lights go down. Alice Cooper's going on. He gets out of the door, runs on stage, does his thing, and goes back to the limo and leaves. Doesn't talk to anybody because he didn't want to be in that environment.
Sure.
Right.
That
Which
would
makes
make him
sense.
have a
What a
setback or
letdown.
something.
You were looking forward to meeting
Oh, yeah, I
him.
was so, I was going to talk to him for an hour, but.
You had all kinds of things to ready to talk
but,
about.
Yeah, we couldn't. So I never met Alice Cooper, so it would have
How
been cool.
exciting. And I'm so
Yeah.
glad,
Oh, yeah.
excited that you're still playing together. The stories that you get to tell.
There's a lot of them. When we talk about them, sometimes I don't remember some of them. So I was there. I don't remember. but
Well, we'll have to make
Yeah.
sure that we get
We
by
get to-
then
we go
to
see you guys,
March
yeah.
9th.
March
then
9th, yeah.
At the
Diamond Music Hall.
and it's selling quick.
not
so.
diamonds, but
Yeah, right.
that's
a whole different show.
Yes, it
Thanks.
is.
We thank you so much for being here
Yeah.
today, and we're looking forward to the show, and it's March 9th, Diamond at 8 o'clock, correct?
That's
Perfect.
it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you
Great.
so much.
Thank you guys. It was
Great
wonderful.
hot list guest with us today with the Boyfriend Band. So thank you so much for joining us on the In Your City show.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for the In Your City show. And our hot list guest with us today is Mary Enderle. Correct?
Yes.
All right. And she is with us, and she has a very heart-compelling story that has led her to some inspiring next chapter, as I guess what we would say. So thank you for being with us, and thank you for bringing the lovely Sophie with you.
Sophie,
Sophie,
yes.
she's so beautiful.
Thank you.
So there's a story
She's looking
behind
around.
Sophie. I know, she's like, I heard my name, right?
Yes.
So there's a story of why this beautiful dog is laying next to you. And there's been some changes in your life that's led to a journey that you've shared in a new book that's out. And so, where do we begin except for, I remember us having lunch and we were talking about life and getting ready to get together to have another lunch and talk more, and life quickly changed for you in an instance. So tell us what you'd like to that's led you to why you're sitting here right now and we get to meet Sophie.
Well, thank you so much, Kelly and Gordon, for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. So my husband was in the Marine Corps. He served in 1994 to 1998. And our son was following in his dad's footsteps along with his grandpa, so third-generation Marine. So my husband started feeling sick on September 6th of 2022. We had a send-off party for our son on September 3rd of 2022. And my husband just woke up that morning on 9/6 with the stomach flu. He just, stomach pains, all the symptoms that we thought was going to be the flu. On 9/10, my husband was getting awarded and surprised with the service dog through Forgotten Coast Canine Organization. So my husband and I, we had started a side hustle, T-shirts, military T-shirts, dog bandanas to give back to different veteran organizations.
And we remember that when
Yeah.
we ran into you at the,
Jared Schmitz.
yes,
Yes.
the event.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yep, that's right. So because of that, we met several other folks along the way. We got to meet the Forgotten Coast Canine team because they had come in town for the Freedom Jam that same year. So we were planning that year, and I had met the folks, the board, some of the other dogs, the handlers, the the people that were working with the dogs. And I actually got to meet Sophie that spring of that year.
Okay.
Yes. So then my husband woke up sick, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, of all the days for you to get sick, of all the weeks, it's the week that you're getting surprised the service dog, because they were giving 2 dogs away that evening at the Freedom Jam to 2 veterans, and one of them being Brian. So I had to keep it a secret for probably about a good 3 or 4 weeks. So that evening came, and my husband was getting worse progressively through the week. And I said, babe, can you please just get into the building for just 30 minutes? The 3 Rangers whiskey guys were there. Tonto had his vodka line book signing. So they had met Brian the year previously, and they wanted to see him. So I was thinking, well, that's a good way to get him into the building, just for 30 minutes. He's like, I just don't feel good. I feel terrible. So that evening he stayed home, and I was really upset with him. So I got home that evening. So I had to go up on stage, get his award and certificate. And I didn't feel right getting it for him because I'm not a veteran. So, and then that next day, Jake was leaving for boot camp. So on 9/11, we were dropping our son off to go to boot camp. And that morning, he was helping me empty the car, and he looks at my car, and he saw the certificate that had the Forgotten Coast Canine logo on it and his name. And he said, what is that? And I said, well, that's why I needed you at the building last night for the event, because they were awarding 2 service dogs that evening to 2 veterans, and you were one of the 2. And he's like, are you kidding me? I said, no. I said, you were going to get awarded this service dog. He was so excited, and it just made sense because we're going to be empty nesters, a Marine spouse, Marine mom, soon to be. Our son's leaving for boot camp, empty nester, with our daughter being in news media as well. So it's just going to be he and I, and we were going to be the ambassadors for the program and bring Sophie around to try to help bring awareness to this Forgotten Coast Canine program, because they provide service dogs for veterans and first responders who are suffering from PTSD. Because other veterans and first responders can see it in others if they're suffering from PTSD as well. So they could see it in Brian. So on 9/11, we drop our son, Jake, off for MEPS and at the Renaissance Hotel. And he flies off to MCRD in San Diego on 9/12, turns his phone in. We've got no contact with him for 13 weeks. 9/13, Brian's progressively worse over a 7-day period. And I said, there's just no way that the flu lasts 7 days.
Yeah, and getting worse.
Yes, and dehydrated. I said, let's just go to the ER, let's get checked out, let's get an IV going because you're dehydrated, clearly. So I took him to the ER, 3 hours goes by, and the doctor comes in, looks at us, and says, I'm sorry, but there's a mass on your pancreas, and we have to do emergency surgery to put a stent in your bile duct. So right there, it was just a punch to the gut.
Yeah.
And all the things, and all these things racing through my head. Both of my children on 2 opposite ends of the U.S. at the time, and so he and I were just looking at each other like, now what do we do? I'm like, okay, let's not think the worst. So, we had to go through all the motions and everything. Sure. So a few weeks later, they did some follow-up exams, and then they were able to determine that it was actually stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and it already spread. So it was in his lymph nodes, liver, stomach lining, and there's spots on his lungs.
And no symptoms until the 9th.
No.
I mean, that just boom, all of a sudden he's
and
sick.
That's how it works.
To be so secretive in the body, to be such a
so hidden.
Yeah, to be such a hidden secret and then just come out like a bomb. And I'm so sorry because it was very quick.
So I had to call the Red Cross. The Red Cross put me in touch with Jake's command center, and then his senior drill instructor let Jake FaceTime home, and we were able to have constant communication when they could. So shortly after that, Brian took a turn for the worst, and he was gone on November 4th of 2022. So Jake stayed in. Yeah, 8 weeks. He was gone within 8 weeks. So Jake was in the Marines, and before Brian had passed, and when he had that first conversation with Brian when he was out in boot camp, Brian and his dad said, we think it's a good idea that you just stay in. And Jake wanted to stay in too, because if he would have come home for those 5 days, he would have to go back out to San Diego and start all over again. Well, he went out on a buddy system with 3 other boys. So I call them the Fab Four. There was 4 of them that all left together, and they were all together in the same platoon in the same company.
For that, to stay together.
Yes, absolutely. So Jake ended up finishing boot camp, he stayed in even during the funeral. So because of the Schmitz family and the community that we have, such support that we have with the Little Black Book Women in Business, they were so supportive. The Schmitz family, because being a Marine family and that brotherhood, Mark Schmitz was so wonderful, and he helped FaceTime and video the funeral and the visitation so that Jake could be, yes, because he was out in the field in doing rifle qualification while he was in boot camp. So just having that community and that family and camaraderie was just so beneficial and so wonderful to us, because my son is on the West Coast. So
Right.
And so from that, of course, your husband was supposed to be awarded the dog. You've now told your story through a book called Tenacity.
yes,
The Grit Collection.
yes,
And your story is called
it's called The White Boots.
The White Boots. And
Yes.
tell us the white boots. And then, of course, you ended up they ended up letting you have the dog to help you through such a traumatic event in memory of your husband, which I'm sure has been such a, I mean, I can't even compare. There's, to what you've been through, but you know Olive, of course, you see her all the time, our life. Dogs are truly a gift
Healing.
from God. They're healing. I mean, with loss of my mom, it's not someone, she wasn't living in the home with me and my, but dogs just do incredible service to people with healing their heart. And I would imagine that has just done an incredible service to you.
Sometimes when we're going through grief, though, we want to say things, or we want to talk and say things, but we don't necessarily want someone to tell us things, right?
Yes.
And I think that's why dogs are so important, because they don't talk back.
They just
Right.
listen.
Yes.
Sometimes they
and so
bark.
supportive.
Look, every time she hears, she knows you're talking.
Yes. Yeah.
So is that what then has happened, where you've been gifted this wonderful service dog, which you take her almost everywhere, which is really neat. We were at the event, gala event, and there you're in your gorgeous dress, and there's Sophie right next to you. She makes a lovely date.
Oh, thank you. Yes, she does.
So your story, The White Boot, you named it that because?
So I love country western boots, and I love the country western theme. So right before Brian was getting awarded his service dog, which was a gift to him, my last gift that I received from Brian on my birthday was a pair of white country western boots that I wanted.
Gosh. Oh my gosh.
So he was getting awarded this service dog, and it was a surprise to him as a gift to him. And so Chris, who runs Forgotten Coast Canine out of Madison, Florida, it's a 30-week program. So Brian was getting awarded 28 weeks online instruction, and then 2 weeks in person with the puppy, and then he'd bring the puppy home, and we would be brand ambassadors for the program. Well, Chris called me up right after Brian passed, and he said, I just want you to know that you will always be part of the Forgotten Coast Canine family. And I don't know what that meant. So shortly, a few weeks after that, he calls me back up, and Jake has already gone back out to School of Infantry to start his journey as a new Marine. So Chris called me up and he said, okay, I've thought about it long and hard, and I'm going to give you my Sophie to be with you as support for you, because I told you that you would always be part of the Forgotten Coast Canine family.
awesome.
It's beautiful.
And because I'm not a veteran, I can't go through the program, so that's why I have her.
Yeah.
And now I have this opportunity to still continue the mission and honor Brian and
Share the
carry on
story.
his legacy.
And so if they want to get your book, tell us how they
Okay.
can get Tenacity,
Yes.
The Grit Collection, and The White Boots is your story within
Yes.
it. How can people get a hold of the book? Is there a site they go to, or contacting you?
Yes, they can contact me, or it's on Amazon.com, and it's through the Grit Collection. Jennifer Bardot
Sure.
is
She's wonderful.
collaborator. So so she's the one that created the program. So T for Tenacity, and the 40 women and authors inside the book there. And but typically you can find it on Amazon.com, or on my Facebook page has a link as well.
Well, keep sharing your story, as hard as it is, because, that is what it is. It's hard. And sometimes people feel very alone when they're going through something that's really difficult to get through. and you feel like you're the only one that's
Yes.
suffering or that's in pain. And when people know that other things do happen, people do go through pain, they can survive, they can go on. When it feels like you can't, you're a shining, star showing that, life does get us sometimes, but you can't say
for
it.
other
And,
women,
yeah,
yeah.
and to know that, that you have Sophie now and the kind people that still kept you in their heart. People need to know and be inspired that there are wonderful things that happen out there. And before we go, which we're out of time, but we're keeping more time, your jackets are for a reason. Of course, carrying on the country theme that you
Yes.
love so much, and
Yes.
this go perfect with your right boots, either one of them.
Yes.
There's something that goes along with those. You actually are making these, and
Yes.
and I believe that possibly there's a portion of proceeds that goes somewhere from those.
Yes.
Okay.
So making these, it's very therapeutic to make. So I can customize with different colors, and this has the Forgotten Coast Canine logo on this as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then if somebody just wants one for like a bridal shower or
Oh, that's a great idea.
girls'
right?
night
Right on the back.
out, yes.
You can make
Yep.
those, and then again, you're supporting a community that is so strong within your heart.
Yes.
It's been there for you.
I want to be able to give back a portion of the proceeds back to the Forgotten
Yeah.
Coast Canine organization so that other veterans and first responders can get their dogs too.
Oh, absolutely.
And help them with PTSD and overcome.
Yeah.
Well, you are from the city of St. Charles.
Yes.
And on a fun note, what would you say if someone said to you, I want to try something or experience something?
That's
What's
hot in our city.
Yeah.
So where would you take someone that came out of town, and your friends
not
came
from
into
here.
town and said,
You and Sophie would take
what's hot?
them.
Where
What's
can I go
hot?
that's hot? What do you think, Sophie?
Well, on Wednesday evenings there is country line dancing evening.
There you go.
So
you can wear
there
your white boots and your white
There you go.
jacket.
Yes.
Where do they have country line dancing
It's
at?
at Diamond Music Hall on
Oh,
Cave Springs
we were
and 70.
Just
a lot
talking
of
about. We
plugs
just had a
today.
music. Yeah, we just had a music guest on. That's
Oh,
going to be
there-
their March 9th
okay.
playing. So, well,
It's
thank
not
you,
fun.
Mary, so much. Mary Enderle, she is here with us today with Sophie, sharing her story. Check out Tenacity, the book. It's the part of the Grit collection, and then of course look for Mary's story, The White Boots. Oh, we appreciate you so
Oh,
much.
thank you
you
so
for
much.
sharing your story with us.
She's like,
Sorry,
what are you
hi,
doing to
Sophie.
mommy?
It's my mommy. All right. Thank you so much for being
Thank you.
part of the show, part of In Your City Show. Our hot list guest coming from the city of St. Charles, Mary Enderle. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sophie's all excited. She wants a treat. We love bringing you what's hot in your cities. Take time to experience new things locally. Support local, and if you are interested in being a hot list guest on the In Your City Show, you can go to inyourcityshow.com. Contact us today.
Yeah, that's right. We want to thank you for joining us on our City Lifestyle Love Local show. If you don't have a copy of our latest issue, join us at citylifestyle.com and click your favorite city to subscribe or reach out to us for more information at inyourcityshow.com.
So what a great day it's been here at the
Yes.
Outreach Studios.
Loving local.
Yeah, living local, definitely. Support local. We love all of it. Our hot list guests bring us so much information, educate us on what's going on in the city, and it's inspiring, it's motivating, it's heart-wrenching sometimes.
It
you
is,
know,
and
when
it
you-
shows that everybody seems to feel like they're alone
No.
in what they go through in
Yeah.
life, but they're not. So many
Right.
people are going through things.
Yeah, and you just somehow got to continue to find the laughter in your life, because I think that's huge, healing, and keep loving your heart no matter what's going on.
That's right.
So,
Loving others.
yeah, we thank you for being part of the show, and we look forward to the next In Your City show. And what do we usually say? Until then, peace.